Cold outreach isn't dead, your strategy is. And I'm here today to tell you how you can use one strategy to sign upwards of 15 creators a month with no personal brand. Now, while your calendar's probably looking like this, ours has looked like this for the past 3 years, and it's only getting better. You've probably watched hundreds of gurus online telling you exactly how to use paid ads, how to do cold outreach, how to run SEO, or even build your personal brand. But I'm here today to tell you exactly how to run one strategy that signs us upwards of 15 creators a month. My name's Finn Thompson, founder of Fans Hub, and let's get straight into this. When speaking with agencies, we typically see 4 key areas come up time and time again. That is understanding your ICP. That is how to actually effectively outreach to creators, how to close these creators on sales calls, and actually understanding what data to then track. Firstly, we're going to talk about ICP. What even is your ICP? Now, your ICP could be your ideal creator or ideal client profile in normal business terms, and that's actually what we need to understand, or you need to understand as a team, to actually understand what creator you're going to go after. Take Bonnie Blue and take Sophie Rain as an example. 2 very large creators in the space, but also 2 very different creators. Now, if you're used to marketing a creator like Sophie Rain and Bonnie Blue comes knocking at your door, your whole back end, your whole system, your whole structuring around marketing somebody like Sophie Rain is going to be very different to how you approach somebody like Bonnie Blue. Meaning that if you sign Bonnie Blue when you have Sophie Rain on, you're going to have to change everything on the back end. Your chatting, your marketing, your team structure, how you actually go about onboarding that creator, because they're so different in so many ways. And that's why when working with different agencies, we actually say to them, what is your ICP? Because it's great if you get stage 2, 3 and 4 right, actually going out to these creators and actually getting them on board, but you have 10 different styles of creators who are actually on board with your agency, you're very quickly going to come to a point where you can't continue to scale. Because every single system, every single structure, every single SOP that you have internally is going to be very different across the board. Meaning you're effectively going to have to come up with 10 different strategies, 10 different micro businesses underneath your one business. Opposed to if you would have one creator ICP and actually have that target audience where you know exactly how to market this type of creator, you know exactly how to chat with this type of creator, you know exactly how to manage her expectations and actually allow her to grow within your agency, you can scale much faster. And now I see agencies time and time again just almost spraying a machine gun, going after as many creators as they possibly can and actually not understanding this, which actually limits them to scale because they get to a certain point where they're trying to run so many different things at once when they actually just need to focus on 1 or 2 creators. Now jumping on to the next stage, stage 2, how to actually get replies with cold outreach. There's 3 main points to this. There's the messages you're sending. Are they good enough? Are they actually grabbing the attention of the creator to get them to reply? The accounts in which you're sending the messages from, are you sending them from qualified accounts? If you were a creator, would you reply to yourself? And thirdly, the follow-up sequence in which you're re-engaging with that creator in case they've missed your message, so that you can guarantee that you're getting the reply. So jumping into the first point, the messages in which you're sending. Now, agencies get this confused all the time. They try pitch these creators over DM, promise them the world, and then even if they do get them on board, under-deliver every single time. When pitching these messages, you want to pitch it as a piece of information. You want to information gather with the creator to understand and offer them something that perhaps they aren't currently doing. Something that you can see from their socials that stands out to you. Use this as a hook to grab their attention and just to engage the start of a conversation. When you're actually messaging them, you then want to carry on the conversation, and the whole premise of the call that you're trying to book isn't to sign them onto your agency. It's to get them onto a call. What type of messages are you actually sending? Is it a message that says, hey, I'm going to guarantee you 100 grand a month in your first 30 days, you should join my agency? Or is it, hey name, can I ask you a question? Hey name, have you visited this club in wherever location that they're currently in? You need to get creative with it. You need to use your brain. You need to actually come up with different sequence that you can use for different creators to actually be interested by what they're doing, to gather information from them, but to actually grab their attention in their initial stage. Moving on to the second point, the accounts you're actually outreaching from. Like I said at the start of this point, if you were a creator, would you reply to their account in which you're outreaching from? The normal answer is no, you wouldn't, because you've bought 10,000 followers, you've posted 9 random photos off Pinterest, and now you're messaging creators and moaning that you're not getting replies. And that's the issue with a lot of this stuff. Use an account that looks legit. That could be your personal profile, even if it has a few hundred followers but has a good amount of posts that looks legit, shows you're a real person. Use a creator's profile. Use a well put together agency profile. Whatever that might be, if the message is correct, it has the correct hook and captures their attention. If you have an account that, even if it has a low amount of followers, that looks legit, shows that a real person is acting behind that and not just some random guy in the Philippines messaging 500 creators a day. Now finally, it's the follow-up sequence. Once you've got the message in which you're sending correct, once you have their accounts in which you're using are right, you need to then have a follow-up sequence. So you'll be speaking to these creators, you'll be having a very good conversation with them, you'll be understanding what their pain points are, where they're currently at in their OnlyFans journey, trying to book them on a call in some shape or form. This doesn't have to be around what your agency does, how you can help them, how you can increase their revenue. You want to use any opportunity to just get them on a call. And finally, how are you tracking this data? Who are you following up with? And what does that process look like for you? So firstly, the messages sent. Now, when looking at the messages in which you're sending, you need to understand what the goal of the conversation is. Once you've understood the end goal, you can then understand what message you need to send to get to that end goal. What I would advise is that you're always trying to get the creator on a call, but you steer away from going down the route of promising a creator 100 grand a month or promising them 10,000 subs in the first 30 days, whatever that might be. Once you've understood the goal, and that is to get them on a call around anything that you potentially could. We have a rule over at Fansub where we literally follow up with creators until we get told to fuck off. And the reason is because until you get told to fuck off, you haven't done a good enough job. You need to follow up these creators 4 or 5 or even 10 times. And the reason behind that is because these creators are getting messages hundreds of times a day. And if you're the one who's only sending out one message and then saying, why aren't I getting results? You're doing it all wrong. You need to be looking at this like an actual sales cycle. You've got the opening message, which you start with. You've then got their accounts, which is almost your social proof to back you up, prove that you are the person and you know what you're talking about. Whether that is just a personal page with a couple of hundred followers, but it shows you're legit. Whether that is an agency page to show results, different branding of your agency and your setup as a whole, or whether that is a creator page, again, to show that you've got those proven results with a creator in which you already work with. And which way you do it is absolutely fine, but you just need to get that right. And then finally, once you start engaging with these creators, you need to understand how to follow up with them in the correct way, how to keep them engaged, and then how to actually book them on a call, which we'll be going into next. You've done the hard parts, you've understood your ICP, you've understood exactly how to send these DMs and get replies. It's now about the sales call. You've got them onto a call, but what do you do? There's 3 main points. How did you frame that conversation in the DMs? Why is this creator even speaking to you? The second point, are you using a sales script? Are you asking the right questions in the right order? Are you finding the right information out? And thirdly, are you actually offering them something they need? Or are you just the same as the last 5 agencies she's worked with? So actually looking at the first one, did you frame this conversation in the right way? A lot of agencies speak to creators following this exact same framework, mastering stage 1 and stage 2, but they'll get on the call and they would have said something completely random in the DMs, which won't allow them to actually speak about their agency. The creator will not trust them, will think they're weird, and ultimately you're no further along than when you didn't have this creator on the call in the first place. This all starts in point 2. You need to understand exactly the message you're sending so you can lead them and actually close them around something where potentially your agency could support them with. Once you've done that, you need to actually then start speaking to them, asking them the right questions on the call, asking them about that pain point they're struggling with, but then actually slowly ask them around, are they with another agency? Are they running certain social media platforms? What's their biggest pain point that's stopping them getting from the next 6 figures a month? And then finally, you need to actually understand what you're offering these creators. Now, over the last 3 years, there's been a flood of agencies into the space, which means there's a lot of different offerings, a lot of different services which these so-called agencies are offering to creators. Everyone seems to be dropping their percentages lower than everyone and ultimately offering them editing services, PR services, marketing, branding, niching, chatting. And you need to understand what makes your agency strong. Once you understand that, you need to wrap that into an offer and present that to the creator once you've understood their pain points. If you can do that well, you then can move on to stage 4, which is how we put all this stuff together and make it really effective. Point 4, tracking. Now, don't ignore this like other agencies do, because being honest with you, out of everything that I've mentioned today, this is the most important thing. A lot of agencies disregard this point because they think, oh, we don't need to track this data, it's just sending DMs, booking calls and trying to close close creators, but ultimately that's guesswork. And that's what we changed and literally saw our results double within a couple of weeks. From ICP all the way through to the DMs in which you're sending, to the calls you're booking, to the creators in which you're closing, you need to track every single stage of the process. And the reason you need to do that is because this is a basic sales funnel. All you're doing is tracking what creators are you outreaching to, how many DMs are you sending, how many replies are you getting, how many calls are you booking, and how many creators are you actually closing. And at each point, you can work on things to actually develop new strategies to improve each point of the funnel. Once you understand that, you can then continue to work, optimize, and scale your cold outreach operation, which will allow you to also sign upwards of 15 creators every single month. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. Make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for the video coming next week. As well as that, I've left a link to my Telegram down in the description, so if you do have any further questions, just hit the link and we can catch up there.